Family's been crucial for me growing up, and certainly falling in love with food. That's where it all started. And it's funny actually, because Mum was a really simple cook, you know, back in England. I mean, I'm English originally. And nothing she ever did was very extravagant or very expensive or very flashy, but it was always home cooked. And she insisted that everything that we ate was home cooked, whether it was pasties and pies and, you know, fish and chips, whether it was, you know, making us a little cake to, you know, take to school, everything she did. I always remember her pulling toffee, like literally, and chopping it up, and us as kids eating it, and actually as a skill. Mum, that was pretty clever. A real kind of basis to the reason I became a chef was my granddad. He was a chef, and by the time I was old enough to recognise it, understand it and enjoy it, he would have retired. Had a beautiful garden, used to bake bread, we used to cook bread. Sounds a bit romantic, but I don't think it really clicked at the time. I wanted to be like my dad, you know, be an engineer, you know, be a fireman, a firefighter, everything but what Granddad was, which was a chef. But certainly when I started to get older, 12, 13 years old, started to realise that what he was doing was very tactile, and what he was doing was very interesting, and he always seemed to be having fun. And my dad seemed to be very serious, very calculating. He's a very quiet man. And I just went, I'm not like my dad. I'm like my granddad. Happy, always chatting, love people, want to be engaged in something that's kind of, you know, that's textural and interesting. And that's when I really started taking notice. And if you think about it, that, you know, I'd never been to a fancy restaurant. I'd never eaten fancy food. We'd never really gone overseas. All of our holidays were camping and caravanning in Devon and Cornwall and Wales. I mean, this wasn't a sexy upbringing by any sense. But what Grandad cooked, there was something amazing about that. There was always something interesting, you know, so I loved that. I mean, we've been very conscious. I mean, obviously I'm a chef and I'm a foodie, but very conscious that the family table is kind of sacrosanct, you know, that sitting down when, you know, Jenna finishes school, you know, when there's a lot on her mind and otherwise she's not going to tell you, she's going to hide in her bedroom and, you know, not bleed her heart or tell you things that are important. That sitting around and, you know, breaking the proverbial bread, as you'd say, is kind of the key to a happy home, I think, because it's unexpected conversations, the things that, you know, that get dragged out, that you talk about that you didn't think were going to happen. And that conduit is food. And I notice now, because I travel a lot, you know, I've been to so many countries around the world now, and that one unifying thing, that's the family table, it's food, it's sharing food, is an amazing medium. It really is. And it never ceases to amaze me that you can go to a place where they're unfamiliar with you, they're not even sure they want you in their little shop. You know, you could be on the street somewhere in Vietnam, and once you sit down and you eat, once you raise your eyebrows, once you start smiling, once you give those ums and ahs of pleasure, people will give you everything. They're just, it's that, you know, that common language of enjoying food.